Hello and welcome to Let's Grow Shopping. What a glorious day for a garden tour. I often sit on the edge of this cliff looking out at the view and wonder about all the people that used to live here, and so I'd just like to acknowledge that and pay my respects to the traditional owners of this land, past, present and future. Transforming this place has made me realise that I'm not sure whether I've done that acknowledgement any justice, purchasing so many products to renovate the house and growing non-native trees to feed ourselves, but I'd like to think it is. I'm doing it with all of my best intentions. Have a look and see for yourself, and I welcome any comments and any suggestions you have on the subject. My family and I bought this house in 2011, which was built in 1958. All original features, it needed a full makeover, inside and out. I was conscious then of the basic need to improve the insulation and try to recycle wherever possible. The asbestos was removed and replaced with new cladding, and the original roof is now colour-bond. We've always loved second-hand, homemade and recycled stuff, and I found our kitchen on eBay, uninstalled it from another house and brought it here. The old cast iron bath and sink were refired and coated white to suit the new bathroom. We installed roof, wall and floor insulation, 4 water tanks holding a total of 27,000 litres, and a 6.6 kilowatt solar system. The house already had a solar hot water heater bought in the 1980s. We got it refurbished when the roof was replaced, and hopefully it'll last another 30 years. Around about 2013, a friend recommended permaculture to me to help figure out how to manage the garden and meet like-minded people. I was hooked. In late 2018, I completed a permaculture design course with Limestone Permaculture and made a holistic plan for the house and the garden. From February 2019, the garden has come to life. I've set about creating a garden full of edibles, with structures that improve our house's livability and energy efficiency and that are recycled where possible. I'm a firm believer that one of the best things you can do for your physical and mental health, and look after the earth in the process, is to grow your own food. Once you start down this path, it's a slippery, highly rewarding slope towards making your own bread, tomato sauce, storing produce for the winter, saving seeds, joining a bulk food co-op, and composting everything you can get your hands on. As a family, we were very conscious of the need to produce less waste. We've always had the standard black compost bin where we put all our cardboard and kitchen waste, but over the years our methods have refined, and now the compost bin lives on the street for the neighbours to put their kitchen scraps in. And we now have 3 containers on the kitchen bench. Suitable food scraps go to the chickens first, then the worms, and the compost bin is the last priority. I built the standard 3-bay compost system out of leftover pallets. It's situated high in the landscape and halfway to both the front and the back garden, so I minimise the distance to both collect materials and distribute the finished product. I found myself putting plant pots on top to catch the full sun, which led me to creating a little nursery with its own sprinkler system. This keeps the compost damp, and any runoff goes downhill to feed the rest of the garden. I built the 3 bays on a slab, and there's a grid at the back which outflows into this tub where I collect the liquid fertiliser. The chickens are amazing at composting. I purposely go out and collect autumn leaves, and neighbours give me clean out material from their guinea pigs and rabbits, and basically I just throw that in their run and they mix it up with their poo and scratch it up and create amazing stuff for the garden like this. Another more recent addition to the system is the Humanure bucket composting toilet, which I put in a big compost bin and leave to mature for a year before I spread it on our fruit trees. The pergola down the west side of the house makes a large difference to the indoor temperature in summer, when the grape and passion fruit vines are full of foliage. In the winter all the leaves drop and the sun, heat and light is let in to warm the house up. The whole front garden has been sheet mulched to create a no-dig garden with fantastic results. Most of the garden has been designed to have everything growing at once, herbs, veggies, fruit trees and flowers, with the intention of creating a forest with as many forms of life as possible. Ideally, the pests are controlled by creating a more balanced ecosystem, attracting predators rather than using chemicals. Recycling is one of our great passions. I used the old windows from the house to make a portable greenhouse that I can move to take advantage of the sun. Who wouldn't want a real life garden bed? Our wicking beds are old intermediate bulk containers, IBCs, cut in half, and then the old carport roof was used to shield them from the sun. The carport frame itself I used to make a pergola with second-hand decking boards that a friend gave me. Grapevines are also on the way across this roof for summer shade. All the bricks are either purchased second-hand, scavenged from other houses, or parts of our house before the renovation. Our composting toilet started off life as the chicken coop. The entrance is our old house front door. Everything else was rescued or left over from renovations. This photo shows the old rock outcrop. We would get water collected in that point in the middle, and tadpoles would have to grow up pretty quickly before the water evaporated. So I bricked in around it, made garden beds, and used a piece of old veranda to create a bridge. I'm still unsuccessfully trying to get a vine to grow over that to create some more shade for the water. A pond drastically increases the biodiversity in the garden and is a great addition. I was sick of purchasing paddling pools for the kids, and so I bricked in an old bath. It's now another pond containing fish. And as luck would have it, I found a sink on the side of the road almost the same colour, which is now the bird bath. Water management is something we're always trying to improve on. The 27,000 litres is stored across 4 tanks made to fit their location for maximum capacity. Due to the nature of our block, they're all on different levels, which makes things slightly more tricky. 3 tanks are plumbed into the garden taps via a pump. Most of the garden beds have a drip line circuit, which helps from both a time saving and a water saving perspective. 5 of the 7 downpipes go to tanks, and the majority of the outflow comes out of this pipe at the back of the house and soaks into the rest of the garden. 1 tank overflows into this garden bed, which drains into the pond, which overflows into this garden bed and drains down into other garden beds and the bananas and the food forest. The water that flows down our driveway goes into this grid just in front of the door and then is piped down to a level spreader in the back garden. Our lawn was dug up to create swales, which are now home to a variety of fruit trees. The swales are a series of on-contour ditches filled with wood chip that hold and slow down water, allowing it to soak in. The wood chip filling the paths soaks up the water like a sponge, and when the wood chip breaks down, I shovel it onto the garden beds as compost and mulch, and then fill the paths with fresh wood chip again. I counted that I've planted over 130 trees on our property since we moved in, not including all the other types of plants there are. Most of them are edible in some way. In the beginning, everything was edible, but now I'm realising the value of true diversity, so I'm planting more flowers to increase the habitat for all the types of life there are in the garden. Creating our happy place has been a real tonic for the soul, but it doesn't take long before you realise you can't do everything on your own, which is why I transformed The Verge and tried to inspire the community to join me in being the change everyone wants to see in the world. 2 of the garden beds were created with the neighbours when I organised a no-dig gardening workshop just for them. The phone box went live a week before the second COVID lockdown, and we met more neighbours in 1 week than we had in the previous 10 years. It's become quite an extensive street library. Because there wasn't any room left in the phone box to put excess produce, I made the Let's Grow shop. Whilst there are prices on for guidelines, I've stated on the door that it's pay what you feel, and if you can't pay, then so be it. Pay it forward somewhere else. Thank you for joining Frankie and I on the all-new house and garden tour. If you'd like more inspiration, tips on growing or design, and workshops we're involved in, visit us on the good old-fashioned internet, YouTube, Facebook and Instagram. And what are you waiting for? Let's grow shopping.